Hi, today on the Minnesota High School Theater Podcast, we are interviewing Margaret Shelby from Sauk Center High School. I'm Alexa Olson, and I'm currently a student involved in theater at LeSueur Henderson High School.
And I'm Colin Schultz, and I am from Belle Plaine, Minnesota, and I'm currently the assistant director for the One Act program in LeSueur Henderson High School.
We are happy to have you on today, Margaret. We're going to ask you some questions and have some great conversation. Feel free to talk whenever you would like.
All right. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, sure. And your first question is, what is your theater background and what do you do for a living?
Well, my theater background was when I graduated from college, I had a general speech major from the University of Northern Iowa. And their thinking there was if you took classes in speech, oral interp, debate, theater, and broadcasting, you'd have a wide variety of background with which to, get a job. And that was my experience with theater from college. And then I ended up getting the job in Sauk Center in 1985. And I've been directing plays there since then.
Wow.
Wow.
So you have lots of experience and wisdom to share.
I I ended up being certified by the state, so I'm certified to teach theater, which is not a common thing anymore. There's not a lot of programs that are offered in theater,
Right.
that kind of thing.
And what's your original content area?
Well, it's speech, and then I ended up finishing my English minor, and I completed a major at St. Cloud State.
Oh.
So I got a job at Sauk teaching, and I taught language arts classes, and then ended up teaching some college in the schools classes as well.
Very nice.
Debate, film, college speech, that kind of thing.
Awesome.
What are some of your first memories of theater?
Oh, my family is very active in theater. They were as they were growing up. My brother was just outstanding, and he actually got a job as an actor in dinner theater, and he ended up being on some TV shows and some movies. And then my other siblings as well. So their theater director, his name was Wayne Hansen. And I used to go hang out at the theater like a little theater rat. And I just enjoyed being there. And he was kind of like your Belle Plaine director. He was made just gorgeous sets and went the extra mile. And I was just really inspired by that. So partially my siblings, my sister played Medea in the high school play, and I listened to her run her lines down in the basement, and then hanging out with the theater kids when I was just maybe in third or fourth grade. I thought it was fun.
Awesome. Well, we've certainly seen Medea over the years, haven't we? Many competitions. That's awesome. So when did you first get started with One Act then, directing One Act?
At Sauk Center. That was my first one act production. I think I did Cleft for Me.
Okay.
Which involved a rock and some, it's a classic one act play, how they're written and they have a point to them, but they're a little bit off the beaten path as far as their format goes. And it definitely was written as a one act play.
Sure.
Yeah. It wasn't great, but I learned.
But you learn, exactly.
So what's the history of Sauk Center's theater or one act program?
Well, there was a man there before I was, his name was Dave Jacobson, and I guess he had a really healthy theater program. And they went to state and starred at least twice that I know of through the records, and he had some really strong speech kids as well. But then there was a break, and I'm not quite sure why, between Dave resigning and going on to something else and then them hiring me. And I'm not quite sure what happened during that break, But when I came in that first day to Sauk Center, there were a few kids there that were very hungry for a theater program.
That's excellent. I'm sure they enjoyed having the program getting back up and running too, for sure.
Mhm, mhm.
And I guess we already kind of touched on this a little bit, talking about your first show, but our next question is, what do you look for in a script, or what do you recommend people do when selecting a script, or how do you do it?
Well, I think for one act competition in particular, I like the more serious shows. If they have a little bit of a humorous aspect, that's good. I always try to match up my kids that I'm working with to the show that we're
Mhm.
going to do so that we take advantage of their skills.
Yeah.
And I try to find something that's got some good literary quality to it.
Sure. Sure. And I'm sure it's what shows you choose have evolved over the years too, like you've kind of mentioned.
Mhm.
So, like what were some of the shows you first started out with and then kind of slowly evolved to now?
Well, we did Take Five was the second show I did,
Oh.
and that was just a kind of an off guard, kind of funny
Yeah.
show. And then I did some shows that probably I didn't even know what they were about. I did The American Dream, which was, I'm not quite sure what I was thinking when I did that one. By Edward Albee. And then I started transitioning, playing around with play scripts choices. And I did Booby and the Trap was kind of a breakthrough show for me. And the kids did really well. And that was our first section trophy. We took second place, and that was really amazing. I did have really good competition in section 5A my first few years, and I tried to learn from what they were doing. I saw the bald soprano. I remember that
Sure.
being left an impression on me at how well they did it. I've always thought it would be fun to do an absurdist show, but I never did. But I do appreciate that. So I think as I watched more plays, then I started to, kind of know what I wanted to do a little bit more and made stronger choices. I also looked at the plays that we're doing down at State too.
Yeah.
And I chose a couple plays that way. I chose Good Mother. That was the first first play that we took to State, and we starred in that one. We did Watermelon Hill, which was also done at State. Yeah. Yeah. And, sometimes that worked out to our advantage, and sometimes not as much, but we always learned. We were always growing and getting better. The program improved.
Exactly. That's the way to do it.
Mhm.
Bring your kids down to State regardless. Exactly. And you learn so much. Even if the show isn't what you would decide to do, you can always learn from something. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And my next question is, what do you think sets Sauk Center Theater apart from other theater programs? What makes you special? And you have all the time you need. So.
I don't know. We have a good tradition. I think that's the biggest thing now. That when kids come in, they know that we take it seriously. Not to say that I do enjoy watching any kind of one act. I think that's wonderful, but we have a tradition of trying to do well in competition. And that's kind of a fun aspect of it too, that only 35 minutes, or less, and that kind of thing. So I do think that tradition helps, and the kids who are involved really want to work hard to keep that tradition going.
Sure.
How do you work with students to develop like their characterization?
Mm-hmm. Well, we talk about motivation, talk about empathy, what they, walking a mile in that character's shoes, talk through the emotions. That's the benefit of theater is developing that kind of thing. Sometimes I show them, I illustrate, I try to model. We talk about the characters and what they're thinking, you know, your regular things that you would do. Mainly just trying to understand the character and approach it from that way. I have over the years encouraged students who play characters who are very different, but from them, but specific, that they do some observing. I had a girl in the Good Mother play a woman who was a stroke victim. And so she had the opportunity to watch, to observe that kind of behavior in people. So I think that really helped her bring some authenticity to that portrayal.
Mhm.
And then this last one, Dark Road,
Yeah.
the main character who goes through the most change, she really dove deep into videos and historic videos to understand the
Right.
complexity of the situation.
Well, and with
And
Dark
that was
Yeah.
really nice to see.
Yeah, and with Dark Road, you had that extra layer of the accents, which I thought was, you know, a whole other layer of challenge, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. I come from my family, man, we like to goof around like that. So I have simplified accents to, you know, my theory is you just try to nail a few sounds and keep them consistent.
Consistent.
Yeah, and then ask for forgiveness. We had some German exchange students at Sauk Center, and I apologized to them ahead of time. And well, one of them said, "Yeah, when my mom speaks English, she sounds like you guys." So,
What did they think about the accents?
oh, the exchange students.
Yeah.
Oh, they just laughed.
Oh.
They understood that we were kind of rookies at it, but I did want to extend that kind of comment to them. That,
Sure.
yeah.
That's really cool that you had some students from there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They weren't in the play.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of circling back to Dark Road, our next question is some of your favorite shows that you've done in the past that stick out and why?
Yeah, well, Dark Road was the darkest
Yeah.
and the most intense. I've never done a play like that before. And I thought the set was just pretty amazing, how we developed that, and the costuming was really fun. And the kids just dove into it 100%. But I'd have to say one of the plays that has most meaning for me is the Laramie Project, because of the reason why I chose it. And it goes back to a former student who shared with me a difficult time that he had with some bullies who targeted him. And that was a large reason why I chose that play. And when I first started at Sauk Center, I would have never done that play, and because out of fear, you know. And I had the courage to step forward and do that. And I thought the community was ready for it. And I did have a little bit of discussion, maybe I would call that a little bit of blowback, but I was upfront about it.
Yeah.
And I just told the concerned parties that this was about bullying, you know.
Right.
And yeah. So that's the one I'm most proud of.
Sure.
And what the moment that I just loved was I pulled my seniors in, and because they've been working with me this whole time. And I said, is it okay with you if we do the Laramie Project? And I told them a little bit about what it was about. And one of the students said, I can get behind that. And they all nodded their head. And I was just very impressed with this group.
What a learning experience for them too. And what a way to use theater. I mean, that's why
Totally.
theater in the schools is so important.
It is.
And going back to that, what are some of your favorite theater memories, like in general?
Oh, we have a lot of fun at rehearsal. it's the laughter's fun. You know, I'm I don't know. It's hard to think of one. Sometimes the warm-up music is fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, putting it on the big speakers and dancing to Katy Perry's, you know, like the one with the plastic bag rolling around.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a play that we always did that as a warm-up. You know, though you get kind of goofy and you have a lot of laughter. They're creative kids, and it's never about the seriousness of the play. Like with Dark Road, some of the audience members and family members said, "Oh my gosh, are you guys going to need therapy?" You know. I said, "No, we laugh a lot too."
Well, I have to tell you, gosh, the lead in Dark Road, I brought our LeSueur team to state this year, and we were sitting up in the gallery, and I think your team was behind us, and I just kept looking at your lead thinking, well, she can't be the same one that was just on the stage right now.
Yeah.
Because she was so intense and so believable, and then here she's behind me laughing with her friends on her phone.
Yeah.
I just thought, wow, that means that it was just that much. That was that well of a performance, you know.
Yes. And the kid who played the German soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the officer with the heavy accent. Yeah, he was so mean during the play. Well, he played Linus, and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. So that's amazing. That's the fun of it, because they love to play. They love to play act. And they'll go whatever direction you point them. And if you can teach them how to do it, then you've made that accomplishment. That's a good thing.
Wow.
What are some of the benefits, do you think, of having high school theater in high school?
Oh, I think it develops empathy for others. You get to have discussions about conflicts that people have, what they're going through, whether it be, you know, family situations like Good Mother. We did another play that didn't go to state that had to do with immigrants. And that was a really interesting play. I was very proud of that. We actually pulled it together. It was an original play, and we could have discussions about that. So you can talk about timely topics, and that's a great benefit. Empathy, being able to use your voice and that confidence on stage. I think finding your voice is a wonderful thing. So, you know, I look at some of my kids that were in Dark Road. They were in 7th and 8th grade, and there they were on the OSHAG acting and being the center of attention, down center, and holding the stage. That would be something I could never dream of doing at that age, but they did it.
Right.
And just to show kids what they're capable of and them responding to your challenge, man, that's empowering. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you certainly seem very passionate about what you do, and it definitely shows. So yeah, our last question for you today kind of ties in with that, and it's, what are some pieces of advice you would give to a beginning director?
I would start in your comfort zone. Choose something that you feel comfortable directing, whether it's serious or comedic. Try to match it up with your actors so they do okay. And try to make it enjoyable for the kids so they come back wanting more, I think, you know, and the success will come, especially if you can have those conversations with them midway through and go, you know, where do you want to go with this? How far do you want to go? Because we'll push however far you want to go. And always be asking the administration for more. My school was really supportive of theater as far as financial choices go. They said yes a lot. So I think that really helped. And it's always a struggle to get kids out for theater to, to fit it in, unfortunately.
Mm.
But, I do believe in my heart, it's one of the most valuable things you can do.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for allowing us to interview you today. We enjoyed having you on our show. We hope the best for your program in the future, and maybe we'll see you at the O'Shaughnessy next winter.
Yes. Nice to meet you, Colin and Alexa. You have a
Nice
good
to
night.
meet you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Have a good day.